Hello, Augies Worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with another episode of the Commentariat, number 6, I believe. What we're going to do for 20 minutes is read the most recent comments on the channel, and I will comment on the comments. And then if you wish, you can comment on this video, and that will make it comments on the comments on the comments. So that's why I call it a Commentariat, because it seems like it's 3 levels deep. We're looking at the first comment. It looks like one of the most recent videos to come out was cheap VNAs are not good for new hams. And the reason that I said that is because they're not simple. If you can figure it out, fine. There's a very inexpensive way for you to go. But a lot of hams, including me, have trouble figuring them out. And that was after Tom Fryricks from the Front Range tried really hard to teach me how to use one. And he got it all fixed up. The first comment is from OK Ham Radio. Nano VNA is the best device for newbies of hams. Well, okay. He likes it. Next one is from Sam Miller. All those gushing Nano VNA proselytizers sound like Linux fanboys telling Windows users that they should give up Windows and learn Linux instead. After all, Windows is expensive compared to Linux, right? Not really, not that expensive. Anyway, using RE or MFJ is like learning to use a phone. Using Nano VNA can be like a hazing ritual. Oh, I like that. Okay, they've gone through the struggle. Now they want all future pledges to the group to go through the same struggle. Okay, Kevin Robertson is talking about the Hamsticks video that talks about how hamstick antennas are great for small backyards. Says, Dave, so appreciate your ability to teach complex topics in a simple and straightforward manner. The Vector Network Analyzer video I watched preceding this on the Hamstick Antenna Hub was outstanding. Well, thank you. Okay, this is Alex Harker. 3 hours ago, you're 100% correct that the UI is terribly unfriendly and it's far above and beyond what many hams want out of it. It is, however, possible to strip away all the most advanced stuff and get to where you can simply and easily connect it to an antenna, scope in on a single band, and check out the low SWR. There's actually a great video on YouTube I saw a while back where the guy specifically shows you how to disable all but one trace, set a frequency range, and see the SWR curve. I'd like the link for that video if you would, Alex. You're going to have to put it in on something along the lines of the name of the link, space, at, space, and so on, because if a reply has a link in it, it gets kicked out. Okay, I saw Walt Bell get a C. Most of the setup needs to be done only once, and then you need only reset the frequency range in the future when you're looking at different bands. Well, I appreciate that, Alex, and the link to that video would be very helpful. Okay, here's one, counterpoise for long wire antennas. Thank you. I'm going to put up my antenna on a 5-foot standoff from my tower, about 50 feet up, running from there to the back of my yard, run the coax down to my ground and surge protector. That is what you said. Yes, that will work. Or you can put that on the feed line. I don't know how close your tower is to the house, but you can put the box with the 49-to-1 on in it somewhere low and then run up the wire to your tower as a sloper. Or use the tower with like a 5-foot pole off the side to hold it as an inverted V. That would work too. David Smith, perhaps you remember my presentation on Nano VNA use at QuartFest 2022. Unfortunately, I missed it. We had kind of a weird schedule while we were there, or I might have gone to seen that. I would love to see your charts, however. I think a Nano VNA is very useful, including for new hams, as long as you know how to use it. There is a learning curve, but not that daunting, says one who has already climbed it. If you are just planning to use SWR, the setup takes a few minutes, but is not all that difficult. Okay, that's what I've been told many times. An antenna analyzer also has a learning curve. True, it does. Okay, although for some functions it's quicker and easier for somebody to learn. Of course, the analyzer may cost 5 to 10 times as much as the Nano VNA. True. The Nano VNA is quite inexpensive. Now, the Nano VNA is an open source kind of thing. So there are lots of people who make it. So there are lots of versions of software out there. And finding the right product with the right piece of software will differ a great deal between hams. Okay, a basic tutorial would be helpful. Yes, I agree. But I don't agree that a user needs to know anything about Linux to use Nano VNA. They just need to be able to follow a menu with a whole bunch of terms in it that I don't understand. And I've only been doing this for 45 plus years. Well, this is the thing I ran into with the DS Commander. I bought their classic antenna, which is a fan vertical. It's very unique in its construction, and it does work. It does work. Now, I had heard from people that the manual was a little hard to follow. So I had my assistant, 2 assistants. First assistant failed. The second one succeeded, but not after erecting it and having it completely collapse. But he finally got it up. We tested it. It works. It's a case of the instructions. This is a very intelligent high school senior who's taken advanced placement classes and so on. I mean, he's the guy we want in ham radio, but he couldn't figure out from the instructions. And that's the problem we have here. If you have an Elmer who knows how to use it, yeah, have him set it up for you. Otherwise, use a regular antenna tuner. Okay. Now, this is an interesting video on finding the MH370, the airplane with whisper. This was a thing a while ago. Somebody claimed it could be done. The inventor of FT8 and JT65 said that it couldn't be done, and I said it couldn't be done, and I gave my reasons for it. And this is Zazugi. So it's kind of like someone saying they saw the Titanic from the light ring reflected from a distant black hole. Yeah, kind of like that. Actually, the problem is that the pulses are too wide. And reflections come via the ionosphere. So if you can get anything, it'd be within hundreds of miles. But I know that the US, the USSR, and China have all tried over-the-horizon radar where they reflect waves off ships and things, which is what they're looking for at HF. And some people really advocate for those things, and other people say they're useless. So there you go. Okay, we got a scoot. Jean Duran says, nice job, Dave. Now that we're back to the cheap PNAs, Bass Man Jr. 100 says, disagree on this. In my opinion, the Nano VNA puts a powerful tool in the hands of a lot of people that otherwise couldn't afford one. This is true. I was able to pull SWR graphs up in a few minutes on my first try. Good for you. Great. By the way, I know zero about Linux. I bet you could learn it quickly, though. And never had to use it with my VNA. I think the Nano VNA is a great tool for new ham. No reason to spend a lot of money at MFJ or Rig Expert if you don't want to. Are they better? Sure. Well, I don't know if they're better. By better, do you mean more accurate? I don't know. I don't think so. Does the Nano VNA work? Absolutely. Yes, works well. Okay, he disagrees. Some people will find that they can intuitively figure that out. I was flummoxed, and I've known a lot of other people who were flummoxed, like this next guy, Clems. Totally agree. The Nano VNA is a handy tool in the shack, but it is not friendly tool for antenna work, and I can understand a new ham struggling to understand them. A conventional antenna analyzer is much more friendly, and at 4 times the price, you can have a Nano VNA or a tiny SA for a third the cost too. If you really want to learn about transmission lines and antenna, Nano VNA and the test board are an excellent learning tool. Okay, so we're getting 2 different opinions here. I liken a tool like the MFJ 256D, which is the one they've got now. I have the B model. I liken that to flying, well, I'll say flying my airplane. My airplane is a sport, light sport aircraft. Has a 110 horse engine, 120 horse engine. There's no mixture control. I mean, it is like super simple. Okay, and I can get in that thing and fly it, and I have my license for that. Unfortunately, the unit is in for some work right now, and we're waiting parts that we're having a real hard time getting. I may put out a plea to help me find the parts. In any event, I would liken picking up the Nano VNA to getting into the cockpit of say a 737. For those who know how to fly 737s, they're very easy to fly. For those who just fly light sport aircraft, I would be completely flummoxed by all the options, all the things that need to be set, plus all the air traffic control lingo that goes with it. I fly from an uncontrolled airport and just enjoy myself, which is the point of a light sport aircraft. So there you go. Okay, we've had opinions on all sides. Dave P6977, the menu system isn't that hard. You know, if the menu could be printed out as a tree, and you could just say, go down this route right here to get to SWR, that'd be great. But my experience was, once I was starting to figure the menu out, the powers that be, the high priests on high, changed the menu structure. And that made it extremely difficult for me to do anything with it. If there were a menu structure that were pretty well solid, and I could see it in the form of a tree, then, yeah, you select this, come over here, select this, and so on. That would make it far easier to use. Dave P. says the menu system isn't that hard. Yeah, right. Just like the first time I got in an airplane, it wasn't that hard. Yeah, right. I had no idea what to do. But I learned. I learned how to do it. I can do it. I can take it off and I can land it. Except the time I broke it. Best tool I've ever had, SWR, is easy. Pick trace, pick format, pick stimulus. 1, 2, 3. 3 menu items. Then start and stop points. 5 things to set. And get a great visual representation. Okay. When I turn on even my Ukrainian one, what is it? Rig Expert. The Rig Expert took some learning for me to learn the order in which you did things to get to the right tools. That's what I love about the MFJ 259 is just dead simplicity. Turn it on and it's measuring SWR. Stick your antenna in, dial up the frequency you want on the little dial, and read it out. Just right there. Very simple. And I just reviewed the Mini 1300 antenna analyzer. I don't know if that video is out yet. And that is a true point and shoot. It's probably got a Nano VNA inside it, but it's got a menu screen that you see all the menu options on the front at once. And you just push the button that says SWR, and poof, there it is. Okay, so and you can create a band graph just by going to the band graph button, punching the band you want, and basically saying go. And beautiful, nice little graph of the SWR across the band. Very nice. Okay, let's see. Adamos Dad. Okay, so tube versus solid state amps. Pentalab makes excellent tubes in the US, Europe, and Asia. I chose to run an ALS 500 amp, which is a transistor amp, but also have an older tube amp. The older tube amps actually distort the sound a little bit, and many people find that distortion to be quite pleasing. They can tell when a ham is using an amp because it has that, it's a slight echo, I think, in it. And so, let's see, cheap VNAs. Eric M0612. Gotta disagree with you way off here. I'm not a programmer and I use mine all the time. Maybe it's better for plug-and-play hams, but the device is easy to use and accurate. For the money, better than any antenna analyzer for hams designing antennas. Very powerful device for a fraction of the price. Once you learn how to use it, it's easy as pie. Yesterday was Pi Day, 3.14. Today is 3.15, which is not pi. 3.1415927. That's all I can recite from memory. And for engineering work, we used 3.14. So, but that today, easy as pie. Okay, this is disingenuous. No, I disagree. The word disingenuous means trying to mislead people. I'm giving you my opinion, so I vigorously disagree. The Nano VNA lists Smith chart and SWR as defaults, also attaches to a computer, which is cool. If you can figure out how to use the Nano VNA, and we looked before, previous comment had 5 things you have to set first, okay, then yeah, it's a lot less expensive than the others. Maybe it's not as rugged as some, but in radio we learn to respect limitations. Yes, we do. Okay, so the only thing I disagree with there is calling what I'm saying a lie. It's not, believe me. Let's see, cheap VNA is not good for new hams. Joseph Turner says Beyond Extra. Now that would be a book title that would make me open my wallet. Get on it, somebody. Yeah, that's, it is actually. They touch on the Smith chart in the extra exam. They ask what it is and what SWR circles are on it, and that's it. That's all they ask. You know, I have seen charts of the Smith chart across the band, and if somebody wants to take the time to sit with me and explain Smith charts, I'd be happy to use them. But I'm quite happy if I put up an antenna, it's got a reasonable SWR, and I make lots of contacts. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, and we've got this from KN6EZE Outdoors. 15 hours ago, Dave, I have to respectfully disagree with you. I was a 3-month-old ham. You were a baby? Oh, when I bought my first Nano VNA from the manufacturer recommended by the original developer. Oh, that, I would like to know who that is. Within 5 minutes after receiving it, I had it calibrated, set to SWR output display, and saved it so that whenever the device was turned on, it showed SWR in my band of choice. Okay, so he is telling me that it worked. Sam Miller responded, your idea of it was super easy, barely an inconvenience, will not be easy to many others, and that's kind of what I'm saying. The wide quality variation in Nano VNAs can be frustrating. Buying the cheapest Nano VNA is like buying a cheap QRP radio. A Pixie radio will only cost $10. Oh, they've gone up. They were $7. But there's a reason why QRP kit shouldn't be a first radio. And then Easy E Outdoors says that is exactly why the original designer has a list of recommended vendors on their site. If someone wants to roll the dice on a random one from the internet, well, as in anything, caveat emptor. And come on now, the Nano VNA site has a manual and a tutorial. And you're going to give me the link to that, aren't you? No, you're not. Okay, and Rig Expert is not that much easier to operate if you want to get it down. Point being, if you can operate a ham radio or an analyzer, you can operate an Nano, and to argue the UI and the menu system on an ICOM would present greater challenges. I disagree with that. I think that the ICOM menu system is actually quite straightforward. But it does take some learning. The Yaesu menu structure, on the other hand, where everything is out of context, at least on my FTDX 3000, now that's hard to deal with. Okay, Dave sounds like he hasn't done his homework on this video. And I did, believe me, I got one, I tried it. Tom Freyrick spent a lot of time with me on the phone. And I thought I had it, and then they changed the menu. Okay, and it shows posted just a few hours ago, which would be yesterday, I think. I understand making those comments in the beginning of a video a few years ago. I found the cheap VNA very easy to use. Okay, I want to hear from KN6EZE with a link to the site where you can get the official Nano VNA. Maybe one that I got was one of the clones that was done very poorly. Okay, so help me out here. Now that we're outside our 20 minutes, we've just talked about Nano VNAs a lot. I mean, if you know how to use one, they're extraordinary tools. You can connect it to your computer and get all kinds of stuff. Not only does it act as an SWR meter, but you can use it to check filters and stuff like that in order to see what their frequency response would be. Like if you're going to design a trap for an antenna, you can use the Nano VNA to do that because it's got an output and an input, so you can loop that through the device under test. What I'm trying to say here, and I will say this again because I have a feeling I'll be saying it even more times, is just simply this. It's not like falling off a log easy. Okay. The MFJ analyzer is a point and shoot type of an analyzer. You plug it in, turn the dial to the frequency you want to know, and look at the SWR two ways. It's digital and it's on the meter. You can also see the reactance on the meter too. That's point and shoot easy. Now the Mini 1300, which is around $200, is also a point and shoot analyzer because you've got this menu, touchscreen menu, and it's just so easy, which I showed in the video, which may not have posted yet. Touch SWR, you can put the frequency you want, and there it is. Or touch the next button over, just touch the band you want, and poof, it displays the SWR. It's point and shoot easy. Okay? Now, for hams who have, say, been generals for 2 or 3 years, okay, is the Nano VNA something worth looking at? Yes. And dig into it like you would a new radio, because it's about as comprehensive as a new radio. So I'm looking forward to KN6EZE sending me that link. The easiest way to send it to me would be AskDave, all one word, at arrl.org. Okay, it'll come directly to me. You can put attachments in it. You can put links in it and stuff like that. And then I can take a look at that. I would love to be convinced that it's easy to use, but right now I'm not. Now, like I said, a 737 pilot will tell you the 737 is a very easy plane to fly. I would not dare fly one. I'd be loath even to climb into the simulator on one. But I'm perfectly happy to fly my own airplane because it's dead simple. You know, you push in the throttle, wait till the right speed, pull the stick back, and up you go. So, anyway, there we are. We are past our time. So I'm going to wrap it up right here. This has been a very interesting conversation. Now, a couple things I want to note. One, if you want to get in touch with me, please email at AskDave, all one word, at ARRL.org. Okay, email me. Please don't call me. Please, just don't. I don't have the time for that. Email me. Please don't text me. Okay, you just email me, and then I can try to get you a reply. I've been catching up on my email. I'm down to only 37 emails in my in-basket, which is way down from what it was a few years ago. Now, as far as the comments, if you want to disagree with me, like these people did, of course, state your reasons. I would love to be proven wrong, especially on a subject like this, because if I can do a video that says, here's how to use your nano VNA as an everyday SWR analyzer. If I could do that video, I'd be very happy to do that video. Now, the one thing I disagreed with was somebody called me what I did disingenuous. If you look up the definition of disingenuous, it means deliberately misleading. In my opinion, it's hard to use a nano VNA unless you have somebody to help you and you know the menu and you know what all the different things are and so on. I stand by that. Now, if you can show me a nano VNA that's an acceptable one from the original and the book and so on, and I can figure out how to do SWR, I'll do that video, okay? And I'll say, I'm going to need a little crow here because I figured out how to use this thing, and I'm going to help you figure out how to use it too. That would be very nice. I would love to make that video. Okay, so there we go. Until we next meet, 73.